The clouds over Port Charles hung low like a foreboding omen, casting a pale gray veil over what was meant to be a sacred day. Sasha Gilmore stood on the steps of the newly renovated Queen of Angels Church, her heart thumping as she clutched her baby girl Daisy, swaddled in white lace and satin. The soft coos of the infant should have brought joy. Instead, they haunted Sasha, who had come to realize that the walls around her life were crumbling. This was Daisy's baptism, a moment Sasha had clung to as her last grasp at a new beginning. But fate, cruel and unrelenting, had something else in store. By the end of the ceremony, lives would be destroyed, truths would shatter illusions, and Sasha's world would never be the same. The invitation list had been small, curated with care. Carly Corinthos was front and center, a godmother to Daisy in every way that mattered. Michael Corinthos stood in the background, a quiet supporter. Willow, Nina, Maxie, and even a hesitant Brooklyn had all made their way to the church. Sonny Corinthos arrived late, flanked by security and the heavy silence of a man embroiled in too many secrets. He gave Sasha a nod of support but avoided Carly's piercing glare. Their Cold War continued. The last to arrive was Lucy Coe, with Deception's board tensions hanging in the air. Yet even she paused to kiss Daisy's head and whisper, "Bless this angel." Sasha smiled faintly. If only that blessing could protect her child from what was coming. Unseen by everyone else, lurking near the shadows of the church's great arches, was Daisy's biological father, a man Sasha had long thought gone, buried in a past too painful to unearth. Sasha had never told anyone who Daisy's father really was. Not Michael, not Carly, not even Lucy. She'd kept the identity hidden for good reason. It was Brandon, the violent man she'd left behind in the throes of addiction and fear, long before she'd ever dreamed of being a mother. Brandon had resurfaced weeks earlier, contacting her with veiled threats and twisted nostalgia. Sasha had been firm. She wanted nothing to do with him. But he had something she didn't, the knowledge that Daisy was his. And he had come to the baptism, armed with the truth and an agenda that would rip Sasha's carefully rebuilt life to shreds. Inside the church, the ceremony had just begun. Father Paul recited the opening prayers while Sasha, holding Daisy in her arms, tried to keep her trembling at bay. Carly couldn't help but notice it. She leaned toward Michael and whispered, "She looks pale. Something's wrong." Michael nodded. "I thought she was just nervous." Carly's gaze swept the church. Her eyes locked onto a tall, hooded figure at the back. A mother's instinct flared. She stood. "What is it?" Michael asked. "I know trouble when I see it," Carly said, already walking toward the back. But before she could reach him, Brandon stepped forward and removed his hood. "I'm here for my daughter." The gasp that followed echoed like a thunderclap. Sasha's knees buckled. Brandon's voice was unmistakable. Her eyes widened as she clutched Daisy tighter, stepping away from the altar. Carly rushed to her side, shielding her like a lioness. "Who the hell is he?" shouted Sonny, now moving forward. "He's Daisy's biological father," Sasha whispered, her voice breaking. "I didn't think he'd come. I thought he was gone." Willow looked stunned. Nina blinked, confused. The crowd murmured. Brandon stepped closer. "I want to hold my daughter." "You'll do no such thing," growled Carly. "She's my blood," Brandon said, pointing to Sasha. "She stole my child. I have rights." Lucy tried to intervene. "This isn't the time or place." But Brandon was beyond reason. "You all think she's some saint because she survived addiction and got her baby back. You don't know what she did." Sasha cried. "Stop. Don't do this, please." The moment spiraled. Brandon lunged for Daisy. Michael tackled him. The baby cried out, terrified. Carly screamed for security. The baptism became a battleground. In the chaos, Brandon managed to pull a small blade, barely longer than a pocket knife, from his jacket. He slashed at Michael's arm and surged towards Sasha and Daisy. Sasha did the unthinkable. She turned away from everyone and ran, out of the church, down the stone steps, and into the courtyard, clutching Daisy in her arms. Brandon followed. "Don't run from me," he shouted. The crowd inside panicked. Sonny drew his gun. Carly ran after Sasha. Maxie called 911. In the courtyard, Sasha stood at the edge of the old fountain, holding Daisy close. "Don't come closer, Brandon. I will scream. I will fight." "You should have told me," he snarled. "I have a right." "You lost all rights when you put your hands on me, when you left me to die in that motel. Remember that?" Sasha's voice cracked. He reached for her again. And then a shot. But not from Sonny. From behind Brandon. He collapsed to the ground. And standing there, trembling, eyes wide, was Willow, gun in hand. "I'm sorry. I was only trying to protect them." Police sirens wailed in the background as the courtyard flooded with people. Carly took Daisy from Sasha's arms, cradling her protectively. Sasha collapsed in grief, trauma, and exhaustion. Sonny knelt by Brandon's body, checking for signs of life. "He's gone," Sonny said grimly. Willow stood frozen, her fingers still gripping the gun. Nina pulled her close, whispering comfort through her own sobs. Daisy wailed in Carly's arms. The sacred day had ended in death and devastation. Hours later at General Hospital, Sasha sat in a stark white room, staring blankly at the wall. She hadn't spoken since giving her statement to the police. Daisy had been taken for observation. Carly sat nearby, a steady presence. "You did what you had to do," Carly said. "You protected her." Sasha shook her head slowly. "No. I brought him into her life. My decisions, they poisoned today. This wasn't a baptism. It was a nightmare." "You are not your past," Carly said gently. "You're her mother. And you're still standing." "But for how long?" Sasha whispered. "Everything I touch dies or breaks." She looked at Carly, with tear-filled eyes. "I can't do this anymore. Daisy deserves better. Maybe it's time I give her that chance." The next morning, Sasha stood before a judge, flanked by her lawyer and Carly. "I'm requesting temporary guardianship of Daisy be transferred to Carly Corinthos," she said clearly. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Carly looked stunned. "Why?" the judge asked gently. Sasha's voice wavered. "Because I love my daughter enough to know when she needs someone stronger than me. I will always be her mother. But I am not safe, not yet. I need time to heal. And she deserves peace now, not when I finally get it together." Carly stood slowly. "If this is what you truly want, I'll protect her. I promise." Sasha smiled through tears. "Thank you." Meanwhile, Willow faced her own demons. The shooting had been ruled justifiable, but the psychological toll was severe. She stood on the hospital roof, looking out at the sky. Michael found her there. "I didn't mean to kill him," Willow said. "I just wanted to stop him." "You did," Michael said. "You saved Sasha. You saved Daisy. But what if next time I freeze? What if I become someone I don't recognize again? You're stronger than that. And you're not alone." Still, Willow would never be the same. Her soul now carried a scar deeper than any wound she'd ever received. And like Sasha, she knew some pain would never heal completely. The news of the baptism tragedy spread quickly. "Former addict loses custody in wake of violent baptism," one headline read. Another praised Sasha's sacrifice. "Mother chooses safety over ego." Maxie publicly defended her friend. "Sasha is the strongest woman I know, and Daisy is lucky to have her." Sonny increased security around Carly and Daisy. Nina quietly reached out to Sasha, offering support. Even Brooklyn, who'd once judged Sasha harshly, sent flowers and a heartfelt card. Port Charles, ever resilient, braced for the next storm. But the tragedy of the baptism lingered like an unhealed wound. In a small cafe near the waterfront, Sasha sipped tea and stared out the window. Her apartment felt empty. Her arms felt heavier without Daisy. But her heart, though broken, was beginning to mend. Carly arrived, carrying Daisy in her carrier. "She missed you," Carly said. Sasha took her baby into her arms, tears spilling freely. "She's growing," Sasha whispered. "And she looks so peaceful. She knows she's loved." They sat together, No words necessary. Sasha kissed her daughter's forehead. One day, you'll know the whole truth. But for now, just know Mommy loves you. More than anything. And for the first time since the baptism, the sun broke through the clouds.